What's up, folks? Welcome back to the new series, How to Hunt. Today we're going to be hunting that good old Wyvern, and I'm going to take a look at the boss. I'm going to tell you the mechanics. I'll tell you what characters work really well there. If there are any niche or specific artifact uses that work there, I'll tell you those as well. And with that said, let's go. The first episode, as I said, is going to be Wyverns. The reason that we're doing Wyverns is because Wyverns is one of the most important dungeons for you to farm. Because in Wyverns, you can get items that let you get more turns, move faster, crit more often, land more debuffs, and all of these things are necessary for you to build a good team in Epic 7. Now let's just get into those mechanics. We're going to be doing a Wyvern 9 run instead of a 10 run because my 10 team is still just too inconsistent. But the boss's immunity is what we're going to discuss first. The boss has the same immunities as all named enemies, which is Taunt, Silent, Stunned, and Sleep, but it also has an additional immunity to Combat Readiness Reduction. What this means is that you can't turn bar lock the boss and keep it from hitting you or make it hit you less often. Now it also has a conditional immunity. It cannot be slowed while shielded. I know there's some confusion about this based on the comments from my streams, but the Wyvern can be slowed, just not when its shield is up. Now for its skills. It has a primary attack, which is a single target attack with a poison, and it gets an extra turn if it's not debuffed. Now it does change between Wyverns 1 through 8, you only need 1 debuff, but once you get to Wyverns 9 and 10, you have to land 2 debuffs. It also shields itself every 4 turns, every 2 to 3 turns if it's not debuffed since it'll take extra turns, and when it does shield, it cleanses itself of debuffs and slows itself. If the shield isn't destroyed before its next turn, it essentially wipes you. It's possible to live, but you'll most likely die afterwards because its attack increases by 30%. Some of your party members will probably be dead. Also important to note that right before it shields, it hits you with a tail swipe and strips all of your party's buffs. Now here are the things that you'll need on your team to be able to beat Wyverns. You'll need debuffs, sustain, damage, and support. For each of these roles, I'm going to mention a couple 5, 4, and 3 stars that'll help out for this dungeon. Side note, I do typically avoid mentioning MLs except for the 3-star ones because a lot of people just don't have them. If you're wondering if your character fits one of the categories, feel free to ask in the comments. I have no problem helping you out. For debuffers, you can run Cigarette, lots of bleeds, very good single target damage. Haste, also lots of bleeds, good sustain for your team, and also good single target damage. Balls is on, lots of debuffs, has a slow, anti-heal, and defense break all in one ability. Also has poison. Kin has death break, attack break, self buffs, and does really good damage, and you can also frontline him pretty easily. For 4-star debuffers, some options are Surin. She helps you out with your bleed teams. She extends the duration of all debuffs as well as bursting bleeds. Dingo bleeds, burns, and cooldown reduces your entire team, does good damage, and cleanses, provides a lot of utility. Clarissa, defense break, bleeds, and helps you clear the first waves. 3-star options are Alexa, Terranorguard, and Gunther. Alexa has poison, she also has pretty solid damage based on debuffs. Terranorguard, his team ups are really great. He also death breaks on his skill 1, which synergizes with his team ups. Also, if he team ups, you get a turn bar boost. Gunther, I know some people are probably going to think this is crazy, but Gunther has bleeds and he also has some really insane burst damage. There weren't a great deal of 5-star options here for sustainers. 4-star options are probably going to be your best bet, which is Angelica and Decades. The Angelica has really good burst heals for single target as well as solid AoE team heals and immunity, which is going to help you out taking less damage from the poison. 3-star options are Doris, who's actually really phenomenal here. She has a defense buff, she has heals over time, she has turn bar boost, she has a lot of stuff going for her. Hazel is another option. She gives you an attack buff as well as some good sustain. The only issue I'd have with Hazel is maybe her dying because she needs to build attack. So for some 5-star options for supports, and supports are people that are just going to make your runs easier, is Tywin. He has an AoE defense break, he has HP damage scaling, pretty decent damage scaling, as well as the fact that he attack buffs, crit buffs, and turn bar boosts an ally. He also buffs himself. Another 5-star option is DN. I'm pretty sure most people know what DN does, as she's one of the most ridiculous supports in the game. 4-star options are Shuri. He will crit and turn bar boost you or combat readiness boost you every turn, which is amazing. A lot of people use him for first turning, which we'll talk about later. 3-star options are Flurry, which is Falcon or Clary, and she is going to help you by defense breaking the boss. What's really important about Falcon or Clary is that even though she's an elemental disadvantage, she still provides a tremendous amount of help because her skill 3 does not hit. So that means she can't miss even though she's off element. Also, her skill 1 will combat readiness boost the lowest combat readiness ally, as well as the fact that she will heal all of your allies every time she takes a turn. Another option is Recourse. He has a single target defense break on the skill 1, and his skill 2 AoE speed boosts allies as well as reducing cooldowns by 1 turn. Another option would be Tierra. She is similar to Shuri except that she doesn't require you to crit. The only thing is she's 10 speed slower, doesn't require you to crit, and she doesn't turn bar boost as much as the Shuri will. However, she does have a blind on her skill 1, which can help you out tremendously. Now for the last section, which is damage characters. A lot of the characters from previous sections could have been used in this section, so the ones that were already mentioned I won't mention again. I'll just mention ones that haven't been mentioned. So for 5 stars we have Kisa, really insane damage, turn resets the boss. It's hard to use her though unless you have an amazing team that can already do the debuffing by themselves and just allow her to do the killing. Chloe is another option. She has her magic nail, and with the magic nail on the boss, any ally that hits the boss will do 2% damage. Really amazing. Sez is another option. Sez just does really good damage. His damage ramps up once the boss is below 50%, and he starts to get his passive attacks though. For 4-star options, you have Karen, who you need amazing crit rate on, but once you get it, she's just a beast. Another option for 4 stars is Cirilla. I was surprised to find out that Cirilla actually has really good multipliers, as well as the fact that she applies a burn with one of her skills makes her an excellent option. The last 2 I'll recommend are Lorena and Axe God, and this is because both of these 3 stars with their specialty change do insane amounts of damage, and the perks that they get from the specialty change allow them to hold their own with other options, even the 4 and 5 star options. Again, these aren't the only characters that you can use in Wyverns, but I do think that the majority of these characters would fit very easily into a Wyvern team comp. Now let's discuss the 2 main strategies for beating Wyvern. What these 2 strategies really boil down to is one question: do you outspeed the Wyvern? To answer that question, for Wyvern 9 you'll need 190 speed, and for Wyvern 10 you'll need 220 speed to consistently outspeed the Wyvern. If you do outspeed the Wyvern, you can have a character like Tierra or Shuri who combat readiness boost their entire team every turn, go before the Wyvern, and that way you can ensure that your team gets a chance to land some debuffs on the boss. What this does is ensure that you don't take any 2 shots from the Wyvern, and it reduces the amount of tankiness that you need on your characters, so you can run a lot more damage on that strategy. Now if you don't outspeed the Wyvern, which I think is the majority of players, then what you can do is make it so that everyone on your team is tanky enough to last through at least 1 hit from the Wyvern. That way you get the second round of turns to land some debuffs on the boss. Now let's talk about some artifacts that can help out with both of these strategies. So for the first strategy, which is the speed strategy, one artifact that can really help you out is called Ranon's Memorandum. What this does is it increases your speed by 10 to 20% over the course of 10 turns, depending on how many upgrades you have into it. This will really help you out if you find yourself on the cusp but not quite making that speed requirement. So for the second strategy, there are 2 artifacts that can help you out. One is Aureus, which increases your party's defense and makes your knight take a percentage of the damage that any of your allies take. Another artifact that can help out if you're tanking your healer, which a lot of people are, I do it myself, is Water's Origin. What this does is it heals your healer if they take over 20% of their HP and damage in 1 turn. They get a percentage of their health back, and they also get a combat readiness boost. But like I said, no matter what you do, if you don't land debuffs, someone on your team will likely die. Try to keep your effectiveness on your debuffers within about 15% of the boss's effect resist. You can see its effect resistance if you hover the boss's portrait in the fight. It'll tell you that effect resistance right above its name. You should have seen it earlier on in the video. But yeah, not having those debuffs is definitely a death sentence in Wyverns. Well, that's going to be all for this Wyverns video. I hope something in here was helpful to you. Hope it helps you theorycraft that perfect Wyverns team. We're going to be doing this for all the other hunts as well as the raid bosses. And hoping to do like maybe a comparison for guild characters at some point. This video took a while, so thank you for those of you who were patient and were waiting to see this. I really appreciate it. If you liked the video, please like, comment, subscribe so you can catch all the cool stuff that I'm gonna do. And I think that's it for today. Max out.